Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Budget Magic. So this week, we're heading to Modern to play a deck that actually looks like it could be kind of at home in Standard, well, rotating Standard. So if you're looking for a place to keep using a few of the cards that you might have in your Standard collection but are about to rotate, this might be it. This is Blue-Green Emerge, and I've been excited to try Elder Deep-Fiend in Modern for a long time. It's just such a powerful card, and it actually has even better support in Modern. So this is basically an Elder Deep-Fiend deck, all in on the Deep-Fiend, other Emerge cards. It's kind of a blue-green ramp deck. It's really sweet and really fun. As you can see, 96 bucks in the paper world, 26 ticks on Magic Online, so not a bad price for the Modern format. A quick reminder before we break down Blue-Green Emerge for Modern. If you enjoy Budget Magic and the other series here on the channel, it would be amazing of you if you could take a quick second, click that subscribe button down at the bottom of your screen. It's a great way to support the channel and the site for free. So let's talk Blue-Green Emerge, and of course, as I was just saying, Elder Deep-Fiend, it's kind of the card. This is the namesake card. This is the card that made me want to build this deck. So Elder Deep-Fiend is super powerful. 8 mana, you get a 5/6, but it has a merge. And the idea in our deck is we want to be casting this on turn 3 or on turn 4 after using the emerge to sack a pretty useless kind of rampy type creature. It has flash, so we play on our opponent's upkeep. We tap down their land, so it kind of time walks them for the turn. And then we have this huge 5/6 to keep beating down with. So one of the most powerful things we can do is not just Elder Deep-Fiend once, but kind of chain together Elder Deep-Fiends by searching up more and more and just kind of time walking our opponent out of the game while we're beating down with these huge creatures. And if we can start doing this on turn 3 or turn 4, it really disrupts our opponent's game plan. Our backup emerge creature is Wretched Griff, which might not look like much, but a 3/4 flyer is actually a pretty big fast clock in the Modern format. And one of the things I've realized, actually playing the Elemental deck for Against the Odds, is a lot of decks in Modern really struggle with big creatures. Everything in Modern is built around efficiency. You're trying to kill little creatures. Fatal Push is super popular, Lightning Bolt's super popular, so a lot of decks just don't have a way to deal with these big 5/6, 3/4 flying, high converted mana cost to dodge Fatal Push creatures. The other important thing Wretched Griff does is gives us another big colorless thing to trigger Sanctum of Ugin. So Sanctum of Ugin, much like in Standard, is our best way to chain together our Elder Deep-Fiend. So if we can find just one copy of Deep-Fiend, one copy of Wretched Griff, and we have a Sanctum of Ugin out, we can cast it, sack the Sanctum, search up an Elder Deep-Fiend. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 Sanctums out, and we just chain together our entire deck full of Deep-Fiends and win the game really quickly. And Wretched Griff also gives us another payoff for playing our kind of janky ramp creatures, giving us a way to upgrade those into a real threat. Also draws us a card along the way, so a surprisingly effective card in the deck. The 2 key enablers in the deck are Fairhaven Elf and Wood Elves. So the nice thing about these cards is they're right on curve with our Elder Deep-Fiend. So if we can play a Fairhaven Elf, we can do it as early as turn 2, but say turn 3, not only do we get a 3 mana creature to sack for Emerge, but it tutors out a land and puts it right on the battlefield. It rampant growths us, which means we're guaranteed to have the 4 mana we need to pay for our Elder Deep-Fiend on our opponent's next upkeep. So they just curve super well into our Elder Deep-Fiend. Wood Elf, basically the same way, actually in some ways better than Fairhaven Elf. We have a single breeding pool in our deck. It kind of goes against the budget, but we had to have one, so it gives us a way to search out a dual land with our Wood Elves. And the land comes into play on tap, which sometimes is actually relevant to our deck. Our other big kind of pseudo-emerge targets are Thragtusk and Venser Saper Savant. So these cards kind of do double duty. They're both just really good on their own, and they're also reasonable to sacrifice to our Deep-Fiends, to our Wretched Griff if we need to. So Thragtusk gains us a bunch of life. If we do sacrifice it, we get the Beast token, helps us stabilize against burn decks, and it's also just pretty big on its own. A 5/3 that is hard to kill, can't just win games on its own. And then Venser is really sweet. It can kind of disrupt our opponent, we can bounce a key spell, even just bounce one of our opponent's lands can be pretty good. The other reason I really love it in this deck is not only can we sack it to our Elder Deep-Fiends and Wretched Gryff, we can cast it and use it to bounce our Elder Deep-Fiends or Wretched Gryff to reuse our Enter the Battlefield triggers, or our Thragtusk even. We get a Beast token, we get Thragtusk back in our hand, we recast it, get more life. When it dies, we get another Beast token, so we get tons of Venser value in this deck because it kind of works on both ends, being a good creature to sacrifice to Elder Deep-Fiend while also bouncing our own stuff for value. The final plan of our deck is Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl for more ramp, which is really key to just speeding things up. This is how we sometimes can turn 3 an Elder Deep-Fiend, which is really powerful. Since we're playing all this ramp with Arbor Elves, with Utopia Sprawls, with Wood Elves, with Fairhaven Elves, we want more finishers, and Frost Titan is a good one. Speaking of turn 3, we can occasionally just turn 3 a Frost Titan, tap down one of our opponent's lands for the next turn, have a huge 6/6, which is essentially impossible to kill in that scenario, because it protects itself unless our opponent pays 2 mana. So it's just another really big, good finishing threat. Ideally, we're not going to be sacrificing it to our Elder Deep-Fiend, but we can if we're really desperate. It makes our Elder Deep-Fiend just 2 mana, which is a really good deal. So just another really powerful way to finish the game. And this gives us, overall, I mean, this is the curve. This is what we're trying to set up. Turn 1, we can Arbor Elf or Utopia Sprawl, which means we have 3 mana on turn 2, which gets us to Wood Elves or Fairhaven Elf, which means on turn 3, we can Deep-Fiend, or we can Wretched Gryff. Maybe we have a Sanctum of Ugin by that point to tutor up another copy. That curve also potentially can give us like a turn 4 Frost Titan, which is very strong, and if we have Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl, it can be turn 3. So that's essentially what we're trying to do, and one of the things that makes this deck powerful is we have a lot of redundancy. We have the 8 1-mana ramp spells, we have 7 3-mana ramp spells that also work as Emerge enablers, and those cards either get us to our Elder Deep-Fiends, or worst case, with that curve, turn 3, we're looking at Thragtusk, we're looking at Venser, bounce your land, bounce your play, to set up our Elder Deep-Fiends and Wretched Gryffs as soon as we draw them. So, kind of a ramp deck, but with some really tricky, emergy, tappy stuff going on too. The rest of the deck, we have 4 Remands, that's kind of our protection spell. We have a lot of powerful stuff coming down really quickly, so we don't really need to stop our opponent's stuff forever. We just need to stop it long enough to get down our Elder Deep-Fiends and start chaining them together and tapping our opponent out of the game. So Remand works really well there, especially since it draws us a card to help us find our Deep-Fiends and our other big finishers. And then 1 Dismember just as kind of a removal spell hedge, since we don't have any hard removal in the deck apart from it. Mana base wise, we talked about Sanctum of Ugin, really key for chaining together our Deep-Fiends. The 1 Breeding Pool, as I mentioned, is in the deck 100% as a target for Wood Elves. Really want Wood Elves to be able to search up blue mana, because we have a ton of forests in this deck to support our Arbor Elf, to support our Utopia Sprawl. Can't afford more Breeding Pools under the budget, so we have the 1 because we need both Fairhaven Elf and Wood Elves to be able to search up blue, because we need double blue for Deep-Fiend on turn 4. So Breeding Pool is just, it's a necessary evil. It's frustrating that it's $10 against our budget or something like that, but it is worth it in this case to squeeze 1 copy in under the budget thanks to Wood Elves. Yavimaya Coast as our other dual land. Forest, super important for Arbor Elves and Utopia Sprawl. We are using Utopia Sprawl as a fixer, which helps us cheat on our blue sources a little bit, and then just the 2 islands. As far as the sideboard, Tormod Script for graveyards, Mockery of Nature, another big emerge threat that lets us destroy an artifact or enchantment. Nature's Claim gets rid of artifacts and enchantments as well. Creeping Corrosions for artifacts. Negate lets us counter pretty much anything. So in combo matchups, in more controlling matchups, excellent counterspell in those situations. Cyclonic Rift, just a one of, but it lets us potentially get rid of everything on our opponent's side of the battlefield and swing in for lethal. It lets us deal with kind of stuff that the rest of our cards don't really hit. A whole board full of Lingering Souls tokens, for example, takes advantage of the fact that we ramp so much. Overloading is definitely a possibility. And then Quicksilver Fountain is a bit janky, but it's really good against Tron if you're on the play. What it does is, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player has to turn one of their lands into an island. And then if all the lands on the battlefield on someone's end step or an island, all the counters get removed, everything goes back to normal. So the idea here is we can ramp into this on turn 2 if we need to, or play it on turn 3, and against Tron, they're going to have to keep turning Tron pieces into islands, and while eventually we're going to run out of non-island lands on the battlefield and everything's going to go back to normal, ideally, by the time that happens, we would have killed our opponent with Thratos and Frost Titans and Deep-Fiends. Beast Within, another catch-all removal spell that also gives us a way to snipe down a Tron land, and that is Blue-Green Emerge for Modern, and that's our budget Magic deck for this week. So I think this deck is actually really fun. I mean, it's somewhat all in on the rampy strategy, but we have a lot of tricks up our sleeve as well. The benefit of this style of ramp deck, I think, is having Frost Titans, having Elder Deep-Fiends. Those cards do give us a way to interact with combo-y decks that we might not be able to interact with otherwise. Like, just ramping into big stuff is great, but if our opponent can just combo kill us, then we're going to be in trouble. But having our big ramp payoffs also time walk our opponent, or tap down their lands like Frost Titan, means we can ramp, but also still have a shot against those decks, which is really nice. As far as creature matchups, we just go big. Like I was saying, the biggest benefit to playing this deck, I think, is we dodge Fatal Pushes, we dodge Lightning Bolts. A lot of the most popular removal spells in the formats just don't line up with what we're doing, and we're intentionally built that way. Plus we get Thratos, plus we get Venser, so many sweet cards that I really love. This is just like a ton of cards that I really enjoy playing. Deep-Fiends and Frost Titans, and it's just a really fun deck to play. It works better than you might think. Elder Deep-Fiend coming down on turn 3, on turn 4 is actually really powerful in Modern, just like it is in Standard. So anyway, I'm going to stop gushing about Blue-Green Emerge. It's really fun. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's get to the video so you can see how it plays. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the gameplay videos, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, take a second and click that like button down below. It's a great way to help support the channel for free. And you can find the next video in the playlist right here.